Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm finally sharing with you guys my ghost stories from the past year. I know a lot of you really look forward to this video that I usually post right before Halloween. When I first did Jen's Haunted Home series, there were so many stories that I was able to share with you guys throughout the years, and then I've just been kind of doing it annually with the more current things that have happened here in our home. And there was not really all that much this year. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I have to say I am happy for that. But there are a few things that I wanted to share with you, and I do document the date and the time of anything that happens here in our home currently, just to see if I can find any similarities throughout the years, which I really haven't yet. It's all been so random, but I wanted to share with you some of my stories from 2019. So the first story I want to share with you is something that happened very recently. It was really odd. The previous owners who actually sold us this house came for a visit after really not seeing them for years and years, well over an entire decade. They happened to be back here in New Jersey where we live, and they stopped by and they wanted to take a look at the house and see all the things that we've done over the years. And my husband was sharing with them the story of when we first moved in, what we experienced. And if you want to see that, I'll leave a link above. But basically the first night that we moved into this house, in the middle of the night, we heard really loud banging. It sounded like somebody was like shaking our front doors really hard, trying to get in or out. I don't know, but it like woke up the entire family. We thought somebody was trying to break into our home. So we called 911 and the cops came. It was like this whole big thing. And there's been a history of this happening to previous people who lived in the house prior to us upon their first night of like actually sleeping there. And I had one other story from somebody who lived here in the 80s, and when they woke up in the morning, all of their boxes and stuff were opened and spilled all over the entryway. It was like somebody was going through all of their things. Furniture was knocked over. It was like somebody just went into a rage in the front entryway where they were bringing in all of their boxes. So that was kind of creepy. When my husband shared some stories with the previous owners, they had said that their first night here, they had almost the exact same experience where they heard really loud banging, and it sounded like the doors were shaking, and they were woken up in the middle of the night. It was like the same exact thing. So I just thought that was really creepy that that happened to them as well, because it's kind of a very unusual thing. You're always a little bit uneasy your first night in a new home, especially a big old home with a history of hauntings. So that was interesting to me, and we actually just saw them like a week or two ago. So I thought that was the most recent thing I wanted to share. Then also, only about maybe a month or two ago, not even a solid 2 months, because it was when school had already began, and my oldest daughter Emily now comes home oftentimes at lunchtime. She's a senior, she has a car, she's allowed to come home for lunch. And me and my husband were here in my office talking. My door was shut, and we heard somebody come up the stairs, slam the door, go down the hallway, go down the stairs. We heard a person in the house, and we both thought it was Emily. And I went downstairs to see what she wanted for lunch, or, you know, how she was doing. I usually chat with her a little bit during lunchtime, and I looked out in the driveway and her car was gone. So I was like, oh, she must have just forgotten something and ran in the house to get it. And I called her, and she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was never home. And we just kind of looked at each other like, okay, that's interesting. So no idea who was in the house. That kind of creeped me out as well. And then probably over the summer, no, actually it wasn't the summer, it was the winter of last year. I think it was like in March. Emily came downstairs in the morning and told me something that she experienced. If you guys have been listening to my stories, you know the third floor of our house, which is where Emily's room is always a real hot spot. So she was in her room and she heard somebody sobbing and crying, and like, you know, when you're crying so hard, you're kind of like trying to catch your breath, you're hyperventilating. Well, she heard that in the middle of the night, and she thought for sure it was her little sister Madison having a nightmare and probably in bed crying, maybe still even like half asleep, because she does do that a lot. She'll wake up and stare straight ahead and have like a full-on conversation sometimes, and I'm just like, who are you talking to? It's really weird. She does that probably at least once a week. It's a crazy thing, and I never can understand what she's saying. It's always gibberish or random sentences that I really can't piece together to have an understanding of what she's saying. So anyway, Emily thought it was her, so she came downstairs and Madison was fast asleep. So she was really kind of shooken up after that. She went back up to her room, and again, this time she heard like really heavy breathing, like somebody was suffocating, somebody couldn't catch their breath, and she just had a very restless night, and she was really scared. And it takes a lot to scare Emily. You guys probably already know this. She's experienced a lot of other things in her room, and I'll leave a link to my stories last year because she had a lot of stuff last year. So if you want to listen to those, but she's pretty brave, and no matter what happens, she's always kind of fine with it. I don't know how. I know I wouldn't be. So that is one of the experiences that she had. And then more recently, it was actually just the other night, it was probably within the last week, she went to bed, and when she woke up, her desk chair was moved over next to her bed facing her, as if somebody were to put a chair directly next to you to sit there and stare at you. And she just ran downstairs. She was like, my chair moved in the middle of the night. It's next to me. It's facing me. It's like somebody was sitting there watching me sleep. She was totally freaked out. I bet she's really happy that she's going away to college this upcoming summer. And that is the last story that I have to share in regards to Emily's room. And then there's something that actually just happened yesterday. And one of you guys told me that you heard something in one of my old videos. And that's not the first time that something like this happened. And I can reference at least 3 videos where you guys reached out to me and said that you either saw or heard something, and it's really creepy. And if you ever do come across that, please let me know. Sometimes I totally don't hear it, but then when you tell me the video and like the spot to listen to, I can't even believe that I never heard the sound or saw whatever it was flying across the room. And I know there's more than 3, but there's only 3 I can clearly remember now. And the most recent was a cookie recipe that I was sharing. Me and my daughter Madison were sharing a chocolate chip cookie recipe, and at one point in the video you hear a man whispering, and it is so creepy. And what really creeped me out the most about it was when we had a paranormal investigation done of our home. Again, I'll leave that up there somewhere. You can check that out if you want. There was a man's voice captured, and the voice sounds exactly like it. And it's just, I can't even listen to it. Like, I wanted to listen to it over and over again so I can try to understand what it says, but I just couldn't. I had to stop listening because it really, really creeped me out. I'll leave links below to all of these videos that I'm talking about if you want to listen to them yourself. And then there was another video where I did like a complete Victorian home house tour of all the rooms in my house. And at one point you clearly hear this same voice say, "Hey." And you'll know it right away when you listen to it. And if you do want to go listen to these, I recommend putting on headphones because it will just like go right through you. And it's weird because it's like this very throaty, whispery, masculine sounding voice. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I hate even talking about this stuff in my house. The first time I did this type of a video, I actually did it in our detached garage in the backyard. And I was going to film this at our lake house just because it just makes me uncomfortable to talk about it. So let me know if you're hearing anything now. I don't know. And then the last one was just recently when I was doing my Halloween house tour, and I kind of slow motioned it so you guys could see it better, but once I went into the kitchen, you can see this thing like fly by where I'm showing like my plates and stuff, my Halloween plates, and I know a lot of you think it could be a bug or it could be dust, and oftentimes it is. I would say most of the time it is something like that. It's like a glare, but it was weird because when I was filming, I did see this little ball, like this little glowy light up thing completely fly across the room. And I saw it happen, but I was filming and I was just like, huh, that was weird. And then I didn't realize that I had captured it on film. So you can check that out too, Halloween house tour. And that was just really creepy. And I'm pretty sure that is all that I have from this year. There's something that happened to my husband, but I can't remember if I already shared it with you because I don't remember if it was this past Christmas or the Christmas before. So just in case, I want to make sure I didn't forget to tell you guys this story because he doesn't have all that many things that happened to him, but he was laying on the couch watching whatever, and he had fallen asleep on the couch and he was woken up by somebody singing, and it was right behind the couch, Christmas season, tree was up, all of that, and he sat up and he heard it so clear that he knew somebody was standing behind him singing, and he turned around and there was no one there. So so that's it. Sorry if I already shared that, but I wanted to make sure that you guys heard that one too. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope that you guys are all having a great October, and I'll see you next time. Bye.